please tell me I'm not the only one. I know I need to work on training my dog, but every time I sit down to start working with her, I kind of blank out. Like, what do I do? What do I focus on? How do I prioritize what is most important for her? So I made a cheat sheet on what are the main, most important things to work on if I only have 10 to 20 minutes a day. And the best part is you only need 2 things to do this. One is their meal, or you could use treats. And I always pro tip, do this during at least one of their meal times. That way they're highly motivated, very engaged with me in a fairly low distraction area to start. And the second item is something that either makes your dog nervous or excited. Also, stay tuned because at the end, I'm going to share my favorite dog food brands. Marlo is terrified of the leash, so I have the leash out here right where we're going to be working. We're not putting it on, we're not doing anything with it. It's right here, and I'll explain why in just a moment, and this is key. Let's start with a couple basic cues. Sit, yes. Down. Okay, so she needs a little help. The way that I'm going to help her with this is lure her down by keeping my hand close to her chest, almost going forward a little bit. Yes, and as soon as she's dropping to the ground, I give her my marker QYES. So these beginning ones, your dog may know an SIT or DOWN really, really well, but this helps get them some wins under their belt in the beginning of this session. I want them to be really excited to work with me, and I want them to feel like they're doing a good job. Come up here. Yes, and you can practice going from a DOWN to an SIT, down. Yes! Oh, there you go. Good job. Good job. And you can do this for anywhere from 1 to 3 minutes, from SITs to DOWNs. Then we're going to do one of her favorites, which is touch. Yes, good girl. Touch. Yes. Touch. Yes. And you notice that I didn't give her a treat until the second one, and that's because she knows what that cue is, and to keep her engaged, sometimes I'll give her a treat when she does one, sometimes she'll have to do it 3 times. So you'll notice that she went and laid on the leash on her own, and this is a really big deal because Marlo came from a puppy mill where she lived her life confined to a cage or tied up to a leash with some pretty obvious abuse from a leash. And so what we're doing is having a leash here in the presence while we're putting no pressure to using it, while we're doing a lot of positive work together. So she starts to associate the leash being present as no big deal. If you only bring the leash out to then right away take them for a walk, that anticipatory excitement or nervous energy is going to be expressed while you're on the walk. When I make this not as exciting, and this doesn't necessarily mean much, as you can see, it's not changing the behavior. Yes. Now, if your dog is really scared of something, pretend the leash is a vacuum and they choose to go up to it during this training session, reward that. Yes, good girl. And this is going to help make these items that are scary less scary. And the reason I brought something out that Marlo is generally nervous about, which is the leash, is because she is also, while we're working together, building confidence, which is an enriching activity. So on the days you only have 10 to 20 minutes to train your dog, you're making the most of it because we're all about optimizing our time here. We're busy dog moms. This next thing is important for cooperative care, and this is her just getting used to being touched all over. This is so important for all dogs, any dogs, in my opinion, because one day you are going to, or a vet or vet tech is going to have to work on their paw or their ear or their eye or their mouth or some part of their body, and we want them to be comfortable with it. Are they always going to love having their paws touched? No, maybe not, but we can make it to where they don't become as nervous, stressed, or reactive. And so what I do is I just touch her and I kind of look in her ears. Yes, yes, and then I give treats or food while I'm doing it. I'll look at her teeth. Yes, good girl. And of course, every dog is different. I'm going to always be watching for warning signals because some dogs will have a reaction of sorts when you're doing things to them that they don't like. So I'm gentle, I'm slow, and I build up to this. And I touch her paws. Yes. And I spread her paw pads. Yes. And I try not to let go of her paw if she's yanking it back. This is a very sensitive thing to explain. I'm not holding her paw hostage, right? Like I don't want to do that, but I want to start, Yes, see how she wasn't yanking it away? Hopefully you saw that. And she didn't love it, but she wasn't trying to yank it away. That's what I'm trying to do. If every time she learns that she pulls it, I let go, then she kind of starts to learn that, oh, well, I can just yank away and they're gonna stop. Again, this is why you wanna start slow, because I don't ever wanna like force her to do anything. I also like to get her to lay on her side a little bit and just kind of rub her belly, get her used to like being on this side, because some dogs that can be kind of uncomfortable, and I don't want to force it and go really intense, but this just helps her learn, wow, good things happen when I'm on my back or on my side. And this is a really good time too to be looking for things like fleas, ticks, hot spots. So we're starting to teach her to give paw. And the way that I teach this is I have treats or food in this hand, and then with this hand I put it close to her chest right here. And we're just we started this morning. Yes. And what I'm looking for is for her to raise her paw, any paw in the very beginning, even just a millimeter. And I just hold it here at her chest. Yes. So she raised her paw, and that is the beginning of paw. You'll have to subscribe to watch her progress with that if you want to learn how we go to the next level. But with these, especially learning new tricks and new cues, I keep it really, really short in the beginning and always end on a positive note. I also like to practice sits and downs while I'm standing and even in a different room. Reason being is dogs are very situational. So a sit while I'm sitting is very different than asking her for a sit, yes, while I'm standing. And the other thing I do to get the most out of this session is to work on an implied stay. And what that means is, you saw me ask her for an SIT. What I'm gonna do is continue rewarding her for staying in an SIT. An implied stay means you hold that position that you've been asked to do until you've been released. And this is really great for my dogs because it keeps them in listening mode. It keeps them engaged. It's also great for safety. Like let's say you're out at a park and your dog knows from day one that when you ask for an SIT, they stay in an SIT until you release them, and a dog's coming running after them and you can't get away. You can ask them for an SIT, get in front of your dog and help address the situation to keep them safe. This next one is one of the most important things we'll teach our dogs, and that is focus, or look at me. The more we can positively reinforce our dog looking at us or focusing on us, yes, like that, the more likely they're going to listen to us when they're walking on leash. Instead of barking at that dog, it's going to be more valuable for her, yes, to be looking at you. And the way I teach this and practice this is so easy. I just sit here and I wait for her to make eye contact. Yes, I'm not asking her, I'm not even luring her to do it, because dogs learn best when you give them the opportunity to be successful and do what you want, and then you reward that. Yes, that millisecond she just looked up at my eyes, she's learning that looking at me is more valuable than the treats. Yes. And what was great about this is with my other dog, Finn, he caught on to the value of sit so well early on that when he wants things, he now comes running up to me and like falls down into a sit position and just looks at me, because he knows that when he wants something, he doesn't need to bark or jump up, though sometimes he does that when he gets a little cray-cray, you know. Generally, he knows that what he needs to do is plop down and sit and then look at me intensely, because we practiced focus on me and sits. But what if your dog is jumping on you? Oh, like this. What I do is I simply turn my back, and when they're offering a behavior I want, that's when I reward. So what am I waiting for? I'm waiting for her to offer an SIT. Yes, there we go. So what is she learning right here? If you have a dog that jumps up on that is, oh, yes, if I SIT, then I actually get mom and dad's attention and I get rewards. The next thing I practice might sound a little crazy, but it is running away from my dog and then rewarding her for chasing me. The reason I like to practice this once a day, and I know it sounds silly, but this can actually save their life. And the reason being is when our dogs get away from us, let's say your recall isn't great yet. Of course, we want to practice recall, but let's say it's not great, or it's a new environment and they're not listening. Your dog gets off leash, running away from you. One thing that can help, not guaranteed, but can help, is instead of chasing them, if they just continue to run away from you, sometimes running the opposite direction and making a fool of yourself, being loud, crazy, high pitch, can actually get them to want to chase you. And the way that I like to reinforce that is practice having them chase me at home and then rewarding them with treats. And it looks a little bit like this. We'll run around, run around, run around, run around. Yes, good girl. And then I'll run, 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 run. Come on, come on, come on. Run, 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 run. Run, 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 run. And she learns that chasing me is fun. Yes. Whoop, there we go. And then I reward her, and it becomes to her some physical fun activity and engagement, and she learns that I'm fun and exciting, but then it can also help keep her safe in the future. Now, what if your dog is really nervous about something, whether it be, I don't know, a vacuum, the TV, a leash, a harness? Giving your dog experiences to overcome that fear with you slowly, gradually, positively is going to help them build their confidence. So that's why every single day we work with the leash with her. So I have a leash here. My favorite leash treats everything is all linked down below. You can check out after this video. I love this one, by the way. So I'm gonna hold it out here, click it, and when she touches it, yes, I'm gonna reward her. Yes. Honest question though, comment below. Is this valuable? Do you like to see this real life working session with my dogs? I can never tell if it's too basic, too much information, not enough information. Comment below what kind of stuff you'd like to see, or if I should do more of these, huh? Yeah, Marlo, look how good she's doing. If you want to see her original story, y'all got to check me out on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook at RachelFusaro. It is crazy how much progress she has made just by working with her a little bit each and every day. Now, let's talk about my favorite foods for dogs. Click the video right here. Or if you want to learn more about how I stop leash pulling, click the video right here. And I hope you have a beautiful day. Goodbye.